My name is Shilly. Denis, I just want to share something very small. It's quite big, yes, but I'm just going to narrate a little bit that the Lord showed me today. The Lord showed me something about discovering the Lord for yourself. He's given me about two characters. One of them, actually both of them are kings who have ruled. One of them was like the first, I do believe, yes, Saul was the first king of Israel. We have Saul. And then the other one that followed after him was a little boy who killed a giant that most of us all know and imitate. We have David. And if you do realize that David has more fame than Saul actually does. But I'm just going to show you exactly what the Lord showed me and what it means to be able to access the Lord for yourself. We do realize that all the battles and every communication that Saul needed, it had to go through prophet Samuel. Samuel needed to always give Saul, King Saul, a message back to back. He had to hear from Saul and present to the Lord, and then it was like the mediator between God and King Saul. But when it comes to David, you do realize that David does not use a lot of the prophets. If you look into it, we do not hear a lot of the prophets serving under David. If they were there, that means they were really a little bit silent. Why? Because David, even before he became a king, discovered the Lord for himself. You do realize him from the first statement he makes when he is going to attack Goliath. This is actually the fight that brought David into sin, or into public, for people to get to know who David actually was. And what does he say? David says this, that the same Lord who delivered the lion into my hands will still deliver you, Goliath, to me. Why didn't he say, let me consult from the prophet? You do realize that even during the time David was to be anointed as king, there were a lot of obstacles. At first, even prophet Samuel himself thought that it had to be one of the brothers of David. So he was actually more like ignored. He was like the last result. But after he was anointed, the Lord had been preparing him, or the Lord was preparing him from the bush during the time he was actually looking after the sheep. During the time you are lonely, during the time you feel isolated, during the time you feel neglected, that is always the best time to know the Lord for yourself. And let me tell you something. David writes much more about God because he experienced God for himself than Saul did. Saul did not know so much about the Lord. Why? Because it was always prophet Samuel who had to hear on Saul's behalf. Now, child of God, you can choose to hear the Lord and to seek the Lord for yourself, or you can choose to sit there and wait for the man of God or the prophet to come and speak to you about the Lord. The choice is all yours. As we enter into 2020, this is a message to you, especially if you are a worshiper. You cannot worship a God who you do not know. David was a man after God's own heart. One of the reasons I do believe that happened is because he was a worshiper. He worshipped God, and it was a God that he knew. Do not wait until a prophet tells you about God. Discover God. Let the prophets be supplements, addition to the message that God has already spoken to you. Someone once said, a prophet only confirms what the Lord has already spoken. But if you stay lazy, if you wait for other men to seek the Lord for you, child of God, you're going to stay a baby until you go back to heaven. And trust me, some of us are already enjoying the presence of the Lord. Why? Because we're discovering Him. As the lyrical moment, we encourage you to discover the Lord for yourself. Yes, submit to the men of God. Serve under their leadership, but do not give the responsibility of seeking the Lord and put it entirely on them. Why? Because these men also have their own issues. They have wives to take care of. They have children. They have things they go through. You need to seek the Lord for yourself. Don't be like King Saul. Be like King David. 2020, the year of the Lord, simply resting and letting God. Do not be left out. Look out for the Lord.